starting to go live everywhere. And now that we are, check this out. Dum, da, da, dum. Almost check this out. Check this out. So hi, welcome to another amazing show of amthatgeek.com, and I'm your geek, Yifat Cohen, and today we are talking with another geek, David Newman, who is the author of the bestseller DoitMarketing, 77 instant action ideas to book sales, maximize profits, and crush your competition. He is also the founder of the Speaker Profit Formula, which is what we are talking about today. He's mentoring, it's a mentoring program, and he has helped over 550 speakers, consultants, and expert professionals boost their reach and revenue through the power of speaking. And you know, David, what's really cool to me about that, it's a skill that we all have. We all know how to talk, right? We all speaking, but we're not really speaking, right?
Absolutely right. I mean, it's one of these native talents that, and also a lot of people think they can speak and then they want to share their message or share their story, but it's really about value for the audience. I know we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but yes, everyone, as long as your vocal cords are working and your brain is in good shape and you've got something to say or something to sell, there is a paid professional speaking strategy that might be a great fit for your entrepreneurial adventure.
I love it. And I'm really excited that you and I are talking today. But before we dive into that, all that added value, guys, if this is the first time you're joining us, let me tell you how our shows work. In the first 30 minutes, David and I are just going to deliver tons of value for you because we want you to leave here with actionable tips that you can apply today. If you are on my site, amthatgeek.com, there is also a free gift for you. You will see that on the right side of the video. You can go click there right now or after our show is over, and you can tap into more fantastic resources. After the 30 minutes of our value-added conversation, you guys can come in here and actually pick David's brain and ask him any question that you want, real-time, unscripted, face-to-face, not just in the comments, so that you are part of this conversation. And we already have a few comments on the page, which is fantastic. We got them before the show even started, which is even greater. But if you guys want to come in and join us and participate, this is the place to be. amthatgeek.com/live. You'll see a button right below the video and you can join right now. Of course, you can also interact in comments. Share this if you know anyone else who can benefit from this conversation right now, who wants to make it as a speaker, who wants to supplement their income, who wants to get in front of their clients, corporate clients. This is the show for you. So hop on over, come see us, and we'll dive right in. So David, one of the many things that I didn't even think were possible, where people were doing, is getting in front of corporations. I know a lot of people think of speaking as a stage thing, right? And in the internet marketing world, they're even used to like pitching from the stage and the table rush and all that stuff that makes you feel lousy at the end. But you're doing something different, right? You're actually getting your clients in front of their clients, corporate speaking, getting them paid to speak for like 20 minutes, and that builds trust, affinity, and then consulting clients. So how did that even come about?
Well, so you're right. I guess there's many branches of the speaking adventure. Let me just kind of break that down because I think some people are actually confused about sort of what's what. So number one, there's paid professional speaking, which is what I teach my clients. And then there's also the other model called speak to sell. Mm-hmm. And speak to sell is where you go to these various pitch fests, and I'm sure that you guys have been to these. It's these big internet marketing conferences or multi-level marketing, or basically they get a room full of 200 to 2,000 opportunity seekers that want to do whatever business those people are doing. They get up on stage, they basically pitch for 20 minutes. It's a veiled sales pitch, sometimes not so veiled.
Yep.
And then they sell their programs for between $500 and $5,000, and people rush to the back of the room. And they use all kinds of psychological tricks and neuro-linguistic programming and false scarcity and false deadlines and all kinds of manipulation to get people that, God bless them, they're weak-minded, super hopeful people. And if you've ever been in that crowd, I know I have been in that crowd, you leave there feeling like you have to take a hot shower. And, they're taking advantage of you. Maybe they get a big box of crap and they ship that to your house and it's full of binders and nonsense and DVDs and USB drives, but it's not real training. It's not real mentoring. It's not really what you need to be successful. So that's sort of the sleazy side of the business. And there's a few good people on that side of the business, but really that's kind of where this kind of platform speaking, speak to sell gets a bad reputation. On the professional speaking side, and that's a big distinguishing factor, there are two branches there as well. So professional speakers, consultants, executives, entrepreneurs, trainers, information marketers, we might get paid anywhere from $4,000 to $10,000 to go on stage at either an association, a trade and professional association, or a company meeting, company event. We are genuinely adding value from the very first moment, right? So we are connecting with that audience. We're sharing value, templates, tools, scripts, tips, strategies, practices, philosophies, principles, things that can actually help them improve their life or improve their business or improve their career or improve their leadership or improve their health or wellness or time management or sales. And at that point, we've gotten the fee for the speaking. But then people say, Ifat, you know what? This sounds great. I want more. I want to take you home. I want to bring you into my company. I want my entire team to hear what you had to say. In fact, I want my entire team to do what you recommended that we do. So that's where information goes to transformation, goes to implementation. And that's where also you have a speaking gig. The speaking gig becomes a training gig or a consulting gig or a coaching gig or selling online courses by the truckload or whatever it is you want to do. But that's for corporate buyers, association buyers, people that are responsible for others. And so that's sort of the quote unquote legitimate, I hate to use that word because I'm sad that there's this not legitimate kind of sleazy, scummy side of our business, but speaking to associations, speaking to companies, speaking at big industry conferences that are well recognized, that is the path that I teach my clients.
And what I love about that, before I dive there, so hi Scott, hi Terry, Jarsolov, I think, if I say it right. Hey Danielle. Guys, if you want to join the conversation, dive into amthatgeek.com/live. We'll be happy to see you. So what's interesting to me about that, David, is something that I always felt was missing when I went to hear anyone on stage. The first thing that, you go to listen to someone, when they start selling, it kind of gives you a really bad, just a bad feeling. Why? Because it's kind of like, okay, so you didn't come here to add value. You're just trying to sell me something. And I took time away from my day, my life, my bed, traveled all this way here just to buy another thing. So for me, it kind of feels, what I like about what you're saying is like, okay, you add value first and you give actionable tips to people that they can actually apply this. And then they go like, oh, fantastic. This sounds like a lot of work. How about you do it? Right? So when you do that type of speaking, which, needs to inspire as well, but it's a lot more in, would you say it's kind of like a presentation rather than like a speech on stage? Or like, what's the big difference between how you present to corporate and how you present on stage?
Well, so the presentation might not be all that different. What's different is the purpose of the presentation. So the purpose of a speak to sell presentation is it's like direct marketing, right? It's like, I'm going to say this, I'm going to make an offer, there's going to be a discount, there's going to be some scarcity, there's going to be a deadline, and you're going to buy. And at the end of that day, the people that bought think they win, and the people that did not buy think they lose. Yeah. And then that speaker also is sitting in the back of the room going, how many order forms did I get? Did I do a good talk? Did I get 7 orders? Did I get 17 orders? How many people bought my $10,000 thing? As opposed to genuinely delivering value to an audience, which is a corporate audience, like I said, or an association audience, and then asking them the magic question, what else do you need? What else do you need? What else do you want? How else can I help your group? How else can I serve your company? So that coming from a place of helping and serving rather than pitching and peddling is the huge difference maker between folks that are truly successful as a professional speaker, consultant, coach, etc., and the ones that aren't. And here's another difference. When you show up with genuine value and you offer you invite genuine engagement, that's what we call trusted advisor marketing, right? That's where people respect you and hold you in the light of an authority. When you do it the other way, you become a peddler. You become a salesperson. You become slimy. You become basically a vendor. You become a walking, talking sales machine, and people don't resonate with that. I mean, people want help. People want support. They want guidance. They want mentorship. They want coaching. They want to improve some outcome or result. If buying from you helps that, awesome. But they don't want to be sold a bill of goods and then left holding an empty bag of nonsense that's not going to help them generate any results at all.
You know, and this is, I love that you're saying that, because that's exactly, someone was just sharing, let me see something here. There we go. Someone was just sharing an experience that they had with internet, with a celebrity, Instagram celebrity, and how she schemed everybody, you know, and how horrible that was. And some people were making fun of it because they were like, what did you expect? You know, she's an Instagram influencer, who cares? But there's a big feeling in the entire internet marketing, and I understand this is kind of like our world, right? In the world of internet marketing, there's a lot of fake and a lot of scam. I love the distinction that you make between adding value and just NLPing you to buy, right?
For sure.
It's a big difference. It's a big difference. And the internet now, I think, is maturing to the point where it's like, if you're full of cow manure, because Elena just joined and I'm going to be nice. If you're full of that stuff, then they're going to call you out on that. And your reputation is the most important thing that you have. It's going to be tarnished. So how do you get, one of the questions was like, how do you even get started? How do you get in front of corporations and you position yourself? And I actually want you to break a myth. I think you can. The importance of being a bestseller. How important is that in order to get in front of corporations and have some kind of a status or reputation before you even start?
That's really not important at all. You know, I think a lot of people have this imposter syndrome where I have to have a certain number of years of experience. I have to have a certain letters after my name. I have to be a New York Times bestseller. I have to have 50,000 people listening to my podcast. And they put all of these things in their own way before they get ready to someday maybe go out there as a speaker. And so let me answer the first question about how do you get started. You have to answer two very, very simple foundational questions. And I'll tell you, when we work with clients, it's like, this should be easier than this. These are the two hardest questions you will ever answer. Because I'm asking you to make two foundational decisions in your speaking expert business right now. Number one is, what problems do you solve? What problems do you solve? And question number two, which people do you serve? Because going out there as a generalist saying, I can solve any problem, anytime, anywhere, for anyone. You got leadership, sales, customer service, time management, health, wellness, weight loss, mindset. I can do it all. I can do it all means you can't do any of it, and you would instantly lose trust and credibility. When you make a decision and you say, you know what? I can do lots of things. I love health and wellness. I am health and wellness all day, every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. This is where I'm setting up my tent of expertise. And then you say, who am I going to invite into my tent? Because first of all, there isn't room in your tent for everybody. And number two, it's very difficult to reach everybody. So you say, okay, I am going to reach one specific kind of person who's in one specific kind of situation, and that is who this is perfect for. Because if you can't tell me who this is perfect for, then it's not perfect for anybody. And remember also, folks, everyone is looking for a specific solution because everyone has specific problems, right? Every company, every leader, every manager, every stay-at-home mom, every real estate agent has very specific problems to her life or his life. There's no such thing as a generic solution to a specific problem. So when I say, if you're this kind of person and you have that kind of problem, I am your person. Immediately, so much of the competition falls away because you are now a hyper-relevant, hyper-specific specialist expert. And you're no longer competing with all of these generalists. The other way to look at it, Ifat, is if they can replace us with fill-in-the-blank guru, right? If we're easily replaced, well, I'll sign up with Stuart, or I'll sign up with Wendy, or I'll sign up with Ifat, or I'll sign up with David. They all kind of look the same. They're all marketing coaches. I guess they're all equally good. You know, this is the problem with Facebook ad agencies. This is the problem with most videographers. This is the problem with most catering companies and most accounting firms, is they look the same, they sound the same, they act the same, so they are equally interchangeable. If I show up and say, listen, I am the go-to guy for this kind of person with this kind of problem, all of a sudden, well, you can't go to any other marketing agency. You can't go to any other accounting firm. You can't go to any other muffin shop. You have to go to the super triple chocolate gluten-free vegan muffin shop, because that's the only muffin shop that serves what you love and what you need.
I love this so much because, hi Elena, she's watching us and she's going like, dang, there goes my life plan. I can't be a journalist. And but
Elena's awesome at what she does. She's a perfect example. Everyone that is struggling with any sort of health issue, and if it's within Elena's wheelhouse, she has such deep expertise with this and has such amazing tangible points of proof that all the competition falls away. Like, there's nobody in her niche, in her world, that does it as well as she does it. Not because she's awesome, not because her program is great. Those things are both true. It's because of the client outcomes that she creates over and over and over and over. And we can't do that if we're general and if we're broad.
That is so true. It's so true. And sometimes your reputation precedes you, and because you become so great at what you do, people start thinking that you can do things that you can't even do. You know, like I got a call from someone who said, "Hey, I'm trying to reach Elena because I have a friend with a brain injury," and I'm like, "Yeah, she does miracles with hormones, but." Brain injury, but because she's so good at what she does, people think now, okay, she can heal the world.
Right. Well, and that's what you want, right? I mean, what you want is you want that specificity, and then they'll come to you and say, oh my gosh, can you also help me with this? Can you also help me with that? In some cases, the answer is no, that's not what I do. In some cases, the answer is yes, we do that, but you don't lead with that. You don't start with that. You don't start with a big grocery bag of, I can help you with all of these different problems. You start with, I am the drop-dead go-to expert for marketing, sales, and business development for experts who speak, right? So that's mine, right? Yeah. If there are lots of other people that do marketing, there's lots of other people that help authors, there's lots of other people who help you publish your book or get on Kindle or get a podcast going. I don't touch any of that. Right? I don't touch any of that. So the people that come to me are a very specific kind of person with a very specific kind of problem. Now, if they say, by the way, David, I'm launching a book, do you have some ideas? The answer is yes, but I give that to my paying clients for free because they've paid for something else, right? I don't say, I'm a coaching expert, I'm a speaking expert, I'm a book marketing expert, I'm an online expert, I'm a Facebook ads expert, I'm a webinar expert, I'm a video expert. I don't do that. They say, David, you do a lot of Facebook Lives. Can you give me some pointers? Sure. Because they've already given me a ton of money for this other thing that we're working on.
Right.
I'm going to give them what I know and say, by the way, if you want to go further with this, talk to my friend Ifat, because this is not what I do all day long. So this is the other thing about referrals. And you mentioned about you referring Elena and you're referring me and I'm referring you. The narrower your focus, think about this, gang, the narrower your focus, the more referable you become. Yes. Because if you're a generalist and who's in your referral circle, other generalists, they're not going to refer you because of scarcity mindset. They're going to say, well, I'm not going to refer that person to Ifat because she'll steal my client. It's like, no, we want to share clients, not steal clients. Experts and specialists can share clients. Generalists are left with stealing clients from each other.
That's true. And you know, when we were talking about this show coming up, hi Allison, and Elena, questions, just a second. So when we were talking about this show coming up, there were a lot of things, a lot of conversations that we were sharing each other. And a lot of people are asking, you know, how do I even get started? And some of the things that we talking about today was how to get in front of the audience that's already hungry for the solutions that you're, right? So once you know who you're talking to and once you know what you're offering, now you need to get in front of people. You don't need a book. You don't need 50,000 followers.
Three things. You know, 3 key ingredients to get started.
What do you need?
Number one, very simple website. Number 2, program sheet, 1 single piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, that describes your program and, more importantly, the outcomes of your program, and a prospect list. That is it. You don't need a book, you don't need a blog, you don't need 17 videos, you don't need 10,000 followers on Facebook or 10 million connections on LinkedIn. Website, simple, clean, bold, nicely designed website. Don't have your cousin Vinny do it. Get a nice professional website. Number 2, program sheet with your keynotes or seminars or training workshops. 3 maximum, 3 workshops maximum, 3 titles maximum on that program 1 sheet, all focused on outcomes. So for example, after this program, clients and audiences get bullet, 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 bullet. How is their life better? How is their life different? All the good things go up, right? You're going to boost, you're going to increase, you're going to skyrocket, you're going to take all the good things, take them up. All the bad things like turnover and waste and wasted time, wasted effort, employee benefits, cost containment, all that stuff, the bad stuff goes down. So there you're going to slash, you're going to decrease, you're going to reduce, you're going to eliminate. Think of it like a resume. The resume has action words, not learning words. On your 1 sheet, do not say understand, learn, discover. Nobody wants to understand. Nobody wants to learn. No one wants to discover. They want to kick some butt and get some results.
Okay, so pause for a second. Pause.
Build, boost, etc. And then, so prospect list is a finite written, write that down, finite written workable list of 20 corporations, associations, groups, and events where you want to speak. Because you can't boil the ocean, but if I say, Stuart, where do you want to speak? And he says, well, I've got this executive at IBM. I've got these 2 associations I'd love to speak at. I've got these 4 nonprofits I'd love to get in front of. And here's 5 big conferences that are in my niche and in my field. I'd love to speak for them. I said, oh, I happen to know the executive director of one of those associations. Would that be a good introduction? Oh, my brother-in-law works at IBM. Maybe he can help you out. As soon as you get specific on that active 20 prospect list, the world will start to conspire to help you and introduce you and connect you and refer you.
So I love all the words that you gave. Those are fantastic words. Does the word know? By the end of this, you will know how to. Is that a power word or is that one of the learn, discover words?
Well, you will be able to, right? And then the each bullet is you'll be able to increase, boost, skyrocket, grow, right? So grow your business. You'll know exactly where to get clients, premium clients that are willing to pay premium fees. We're going to decrease your employee turnover. We're going to eliminate gossip, gab, and the grapevine. We're going to do all of these different things. So don't worry about know, or know is another learning word, right?
Okay.
Know, learn, understand, discover. It's action words that need to start the bullets.
Gotcha. Because I have a lot of no words in my no one sheet.
We all do, because, typically experts and speakers like us, we're in the knowledge business. And so we love to learn. We love to understand. We love to discover. But clients, all about results.
So the next question is, and I love the results. And Elena, I'm hoping that we're answering your questions. How do you get started? She goes like, do I need a lot of free speaking engagements first, or can I go from zero to hero?
Oh my gosh. So there's another big, huge myth. I mean, let's bust that one right now. And there's people that I respect quite a lot in the National Speakers Association who say, oh, until you've given 500 free speeches, you shouldn't charge anyone. That's completely ridiculous. That is complete and utter nonsense. You need to just immediately unplug that from your brain. I've had people come into our program, never been paid to speak a single dime. They go out the first time because of their credibility, because of their track record, because of the results they create for people, immediately start to charge and get a $7,500 speaking fee, immediately went to $9,500. 3 months later, they're doing a $12,000 gig. 5 months later, they're doing a 2-day gig for $30,000. And before coming to us, speaking fees were zero. So it is absolutely not about, paying your dues. I hate that term. You got to pay your dues and speak for free a whole lot. No, there's only one good reason to speak for free. When you choose to waive your speaking fee, it's because you're in front of a target-rich audience and you have a high degree of confidence that your next 3 to 5 paying clients are in that audience. But number one, you found that audience, right? You connected with that audience proactively. They didn't come to you and say, hey, can you speak for free? Who's it in front of? Lunch ladies. Do you have any programs for lunch ladies? No. Is that your target market? No. Is there anything you can monetize after you leave the lunch ladies meeting? No. Then don't go, right? Because there's revenue generating speaking and there's lead generating speaking. You get paid. Sometimes you get leads. Sometimes it's both. But if you're not getting paid and it's not a profit-rich, target-rich environment, why are you there? Why are you there wasting your time? So only speak for revenue or leads, or the third option, because people always put this in the comments, what if I want to do a charitable give back? What if I believe in the cause? Great. Then make it part of your charitable give back. But don't confuse that with revenue generating speaking or lead generating speaking.
So I love this. I love that you actually called out the speaking empire, because I thought, a lot of us are kind of like staying in there, like, let's keep our, people we don't like on the quiet and just say there are organizations that. But I hear so many things about the speaker's empire where you are paying $15,000, $100,000. And by the end of it, you don't know how to market yourself, because speaking is one thing, right? And marketing is another thing.
Sure.
So once you know what you're talking about and what the outcomes of your workshop is and how you're going to be presenting on stage and all that stuff, now you still need to go and market yourself. So Let's dive into that. You have 20 people you want to get in front of. And those 20 people, I love what you said at the beginning, they have to be the audience that you, sorry, Elena, you need the link right above the video in the description of the video. imthatgeek.com/live. Jump on in. So guys, if you have more questions for David and you want to interact with him face to face, this is the link. We're about to let you in and just have an unscripted conversation. But we want to get you the value first that you came here for. As
opposed to this conversation, which is so highly scripted. I mean, you can tell I'm reading these answers off a teleprompter.
I know, but in so many cases, people just read the comments and just want to make sure that you answer whatever, like that you're comfortable with whatever you're presenting. No, here, you guys can come in and say whatever you want.
Surprise me. So, go ahead. So we'll try and play Stump David Newman later on.
Ooh, I like that.
It'll be good.
Okay, so we know who we want to attract and who we want to get in front of. We know what value we're adding. We know what we're presenting. We have our very simple website. And now we need to get in front of these people. And we don't have a speaker's reel. We don't have any of our, I don't know what the other things that you need. We don't have our NLP or whatever.
Well, remember, the bare bones minimum is those three things I mentioned. So website, right? Website and speaker one sheet with 3 topics and a prospect list. I mean, that's the bare bones minimum. Should you have, other things maybe later? Sure. But you don't need a video on day one. You don't need, a 15-page PDF press kit on day one. All those things will come with time. Okay,
so to get your first client, you don't need all that stuff. Is that what you said?
No. So check this out. So here's why LinkedIn is awesome. LinkedIn is basically with no website. Check this out. We have another client, no website, no video, no book, no nothing. I said, go to LinkedIn, change your professional summary and put your initial position as what you're doing today, but make it client-centric, and then reach out to people that you want to have hire you to speak. Association executives, trade and professional associations, corporate executives, and so forth. She comes back onto our next mentoring session the following week. She says, David, I got one. I said, really? She goes, yeah. I said, well, how much did you charge? $20,000. I said, $20,000? She goes, yeah. I said, what would you have charged before you came into our program? She says, 8. This is for a 2-day program.
Okay.
I used to charge $4,000 a day. Had a hard time getting that. Did a 2-day program for 8. I connect with this guy, $20,000. And I said, what did he say? He said, okay. And I'm like watching this. I'm trying to keep my poker face, like not going like, what? Like, I haven't sold a $20,000 gig in a single phone call, but that's just me. I said, just like that? And her answer is, just like that.
Ooh,
I tried to keep my face from like going. But when people have the confidence, the clarity, the control, the discipline to say, here's who I am, here's who I help, here's what I solve, do you want some? People go, oh my gosh. Where have you been all my life? I felt like you were talking exactly to me. When I read your LinkedIn profile, here's what he ended up saying. When I read your LinkedIn, I felt that you had X-ray vision and you were talking directly to me. Because I work with companies who, right, the other way you can flip this around is EFOD, clients tend to hire EFOD when they're experiencing one or more of the following. Ouch, pain, bullet, problem, symptom, situation, circumstance. So as soon as you call them out, that are you going through this? Are you tired of that? Are you seeing this in the hallway? Are you seeing this in the break room? Is this what's going on with your sales team? Are you experiencing this problem with your leaders? They go, oh my God, yes. Can you help me with that? Because the person that knows how to describe the problem the most effectively is also the person that prospects assume can solve that problem the most quickly. Because as soon as you're intimately familiar with their problem, they assume that you're intimately brilliant with the solution.
And this is so true. It doesn't even matter who is the person who's giving you the solution, right? As long as they can describe what you're feeling, you automatically think like, oh my God, they know it. They've been there. They know exactly what it works, right? And then you'll take whatever potion they put in front of you just to relieve your pain. So yes, as long as you know what's the painkiller that you're providing, then a lot of people with that pain would want your painkiller.
That's
so
right.
let's go through the 3 things that we said we're going to discuss in the show, and then we're going to open it up to our beautiful audience. I love that you're joining us. So the next thing that you said, we talked about building a platform as an expert, right? Not as a speaker, as an expert who speaks professionally.
Yes.
To build your know, like, and trust factor. So talk about that.
So I think a lot of people make the mistake that they equate a speaking business, or what we call a speaking driven business, with a keynote, talking head keynote, one-way data dump from the stage. Those kinds of speakers are being hired less and less. And what's really in demand now is smart people with big ideas who can share those in multiple different distribution methods. And so what I want you to think about is, for this trusted advisor kind of expert marketing, you got to think beyond the keynote. So what else can you do by way of facilitated conversation, on-stage consulting, hot seats, audience interaction, experiential activities that you're doing with the audience, simply so that they understand that you're not just a pretty face or a talking head that has a nice intro and some humor and a nice closing. And, I laughed, I cried, milk came out my nose, but that you're really a smart, living, breathing human being, kind of like what we're doing here, right? So this isn't canned. This is about to be very experiential and very conversational. People can throw all kinds of things at you, but the challenge there is you really do have to be an expert. So you can't fake that kind of presentation.
Oh, I love that.
What you're also doing is you are previewing what it would be like to work with you privately, or what it would be to bring you into their company, or what it would be like to hire you as their coach. Because when they see you doing an onstage hot seat and you totally transform this person's eating habits or sales habits or leadership habits or personal insights in their career, they go, oh my gosh, I want what he just got, or I want what she just got. That was awesome. And you can see it happen right before your eyes. So I like to tell my clients that please don't think of yourself as a professional speaker. Think of yourself as a professional thinker. You're a professional thinker and a professional problem solver, and then it's up to us to come up with a buffet of different levels of the 3Ds. The 3Ds are depth, duration, and detail. So when you want to work with your clients, is it a one-day keynote? Is it a 3-day boot camp? Is it a 90-day mentoring program? Is it a 6-month leadership development consulting package? Those are the dials that you have. Depth, duration, and detail. A lot of people think the speaking business is a one-time 45-minute one-and-done keynote, and it is not. It embraces training, coaching, consulting, mentorship, online programs, offline programs, information marketing, book publishing, membership sites, building communities. I mean, we'll talk about that. Really, EFOT's genius is about building online communities through video and conversation and experience. And her mission, by the way, you guys know this if you're fans, is to eliminate loneliness.
Yes.
Is she going to tell you how to build a portal? Well, no, but that's a part of it. Is she going to tell you how to be great on video? Well, no, but that's part of it. She's going to tell you how to build a following and a community that supports your brand, supports your business, and connects people with you and through you. So as soon as you say, well, is she a speaker? It's like, well, yeah, she's a speaker, but man, it goes way beyond that because EFOT has those different levels of depth, duration, and detail. So if you guys want some homework, take out an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, figure out your 2 questions, right? Who do I serve? What problems do I solve? And then think about maybe half a dozen different distribution methods for that expertise using different levels of depth, duration, and detail.
This is brilliant. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. And we're already getting comments of like, Elena goes like, that's my 500K offer, David. So Elena, we'll let you jump in right away. There's one more thing we need to cover that we promised you. We're going to cover it and then open it up. We were talking about a strong game plan that can boost your business revenue and results.
Yes.
What would that be?
Oh, super simple. If you can do 3rd grade math, here's your game plan. I call it price times quantity equals total. So once you have your menu of services that I just gave you as homework, then I want you to figure out, okay, how many per month do you want to do? What is the fee that you will get for each one of those? And then add that up to make a revenue game plan. So let's say that your speaking fee is $5,000 and you've got a $20,000 coaching program. And you say, I want to do 3 keynotes a month. So 3 times 5,000 is 15,000, right? Underline that number. And I want to sell at least one $20,000 program. So take the 20,000, add that to the 15,000. You've now built yourself a $35,000 a month revenue plan. You know how many, you know how much, and you know how often. Now, as soon as you have that in, that's your goal. That's where your reticular activation system starts to connect. Where can I get my 3 speeches in December? And who's going to be my 1 big coaching client? Where can I get my 3 speeches in January? And who's going to be my big January coaching client that I'm selling the $20,000 package to? It's a focusing tool, and it also lets you enforce the revenue model that you set for yourself, because at any day of the month, if I say, hey guys, it's December 17th, are you ahead of your plan, behind your plan, or right on your plan? So it's about halfway through the month. If you've already collected $17,500, then you're halfway to your $35,000 plan. If you've collected 0, then you know you're in trouble. If you've collected $40,000 this month with your 3 keynotes and your 1 coaching program, then you're ahead of the game, and the rest of this month is going to be gravy for you. But please do not betray your revenue model. Where you start to cheapen your offer and cut your prices and cave on your fee is you start to betray your own revenue model, and that's why so many speakers, coaches, and consultants are broke, because of a lack of integrity to their own revenue model that they created or that they didn't create, but you guys will create yours now because you're smarter than 90% of the goofballs out there.
And if you guys need someone to hold you accountable and actually hold your hand as you go through the process, I know the guy.
There might be some guy out there. We don't know who he is.
So let's open it up. So Stuart, you were the first person. So I'm going to unmute you, my friend. Jump on camera. Let's see that, if you can do that. Stuart, there we go. Hey, Stuart.
How you doing there, EFAT? We've done this more than once.
So fantastic. Thanks for joining us. I know you want to start a speaking career. So any questions for David that can help you with that?
Yes, the ability to define the audience is critical, and communication with that audience is critical. In my case, I may well have a very defined audience. Communicating with them other than the one-on-one communication may be a little bit more difficult, except with a podcast or video cast. You
mean as far as prospecting activity?
Right, exactly.
Well, so here's the good news, Stuart. All prospecting activity is one-to-one. This is another big myth, right? That, oh, you got to buy a list. You got to spam everyone on LinkedIn. You got to, buy some names and send out 10,000 postcards or one-sheets. Everything that we teach and everything that we do is person-to-person, human-to-human, one-on-one relationship building conversations. So you're never going to get hired off a postcard blast. You're never going to get hired off of any kind of mass communication. The problem is, of course, that mass communication today is so easy. I can spam, all 6,000 of my people on LinkedIn. I can send all kinds of direct mail. I can broadcast out to the world. That's why you have the active 20 prospect list. So those are 20 names of human beings with names, faces, phone numbers, LinkedIn accounts, and email addresses. We reach out to them one-on-one, and we invite them to a conversation on how we can help them or help their group.
I see. Using a program similar to YEFAT's would help build perhaps a tribe.
Yes, a community is always, and who said this? I mean, Ifat and I were talking about this the other day. Some big guru said, forget about content. The new content is connection. The new content is building communities and building relationship, right?
Who's that guru? Who's that guru?
That's the guru right there. So it struck me, and I wasn't sure if you were quoting someone or if that's yours, but obviously it's yours. It's so true, but you're not the only person I've heard that from.
Okay, wait. So content?
My buddy Jay Bear, I'm talking to all kinds of social media people, and they say, you know what? Content is done. The world does not need any more content. Doesn't need more content from you. Doesn't need more content from me. What we need is more connection and more relevance and more community.
So not content, wait, Stuart, not content, connection, right? The internet is filled with all the information that you want, but here's what you don't have. You could have watched David's videos on YouTube Live and comment and all that stuff, but you would not get to pick his brain unless you talk to him like this, face to face. So more connection, less content.
I guess that's where I was going. Yes, as you know, I can manage to make a presentation. But I was very curious about the 20, for example. I've got my notes right here.
Yeah.
The 20, for example, that in that case, that's a specific, almost old school, less talk.
Exactly right. It's old school human-to-human selling and human-to-human outreach.
How would it be reasonable to have that one-on-one as an interview in a format like this that runs on, as EFOT is doing, it runs on multiple platforms throughout the net?
So the technology, in my mind, doesn't matter. But what you just said, Stuart, is so brilliant and so spot on that if you were to interview your prospects, that's all the prospecting you will ever need to do.
That's what
interview your prospects, build trust and build relationship in this format. And then part of the questions, of course, that you're going to ask in that format, what are you doing about X? How are you wrestling with Y? What does your next level of success look like? What's the missing ingredient for you right now? What are some strategic initiatives that are on your desk right now that relate to this problem? And what else, and what else, and what else? Number one, you're going to have a great interview. But then the follow-up from that interview is, hey, Stuart, I was thinking about some of the things you said during our chat. I think there may be some ways I can be more formally helpful to you. Here's some resources. Here's some links. And by the way, if you want to chat, I am happy to help you figure out the next steps, et cetera, et cetera. And you can do that over a period of time. It's not like a one call, hi, how are you? You were on my podcast. Now I'm selling you something. You can build that relationship over 3 or 4 or 5 touch points. But by touch point 5 or 6, you have earned the right to say, I have another idea for you, and I think there may be some ways I can be more formally helpful. Would that be worth a short chat? And they say, well, yeah, Stuart, that would be great. In fact, the problems have gotten worse. They haven't gotten better since our podcast. And what can you do for us? How can we bring you in? How can we tap into your expertise? And they will sometimes ask to hire you before you even bring the idea up to them.
I've had that happen.
For sure. It's magic, right?
A very old school thing, and then I'll get off and Nephi will have someone else on. I used to, when I was talking to someone who I did not have a firm relationship with, I might call them up and say, I need to borrow your brain. Could I have 300 seconds? And then you'll know whether or not we want to continue the conversation.
Sure.
You may remember who that comes from, but not exactly the best guide, but a real good phrase.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. I mean, you can borrow their brain, you can get their advice, you can get their insights. That's, it's the old school play to their ego, because as soon as you say, I'd love to run something by you, can you help me shoot some holes in this idea? You're someone who has your finger on the pulse of the industry. Would you be wonderful enough to spend 15 minutes with me on the phone? I have a crazy idea. I'd love your input on it. Something like that just gets them talking. And then it's going to suggest them to themselves, well, now, wait a minute. I'm talking to Stuart about these industry trends or these problems or these type of situations. We have that problem. We're in that situation. We have that predicament. And he sounds like he might be able to help us. So even that kind of thing, which is kind of an informal interview, it's not, a deep dive interview, but it's the borrowing 300 seconds or what have you. Even that is a tremendously valuable tactic.
Well, it opens conversation at least.
Right. Yeah. And I want to just piggyback on what you just said there, Stuart, because that is so key. People are so concerned about, how do I close more sales? How do I close more sales, close more sales? I say, you know what? Don't focus on closing more sales. Focus on opening more conversations. When you open more conversations with the right people using the right language, the sales will take care of themselves. And you will sell as much speaking, training, coaching, consulting, and professional services than you know what to do with. So get in front of more people, open more conversations.
Which is precisely what EFOT is training us to do.
Right, exactly. Exactly right. There you go.
Thank you, Stuart. This is Conversations to Conversions. How do you like that one? So, Elena, thank you so much, Stuart. I love that you jumped in with us. Elena, I know you got a bunch of questions. Darling, you want to jump in?
I'm popping with questions, right?
Excited.
It's been such a long time.
I know. Good to see you.
I'm like, I love you, hearts. Is it legal, permissible?
I think so. I think that's okay.
No, it's been really, I was not going to be able to make it, but then I was doing my thing and I saw this popping up. I knew I had to join in because I know that you really have the what it takes to get people where they want to go. But so this is my question. Yes, I'm great at what I do, fantastic. And I reserved part of my life to work from home because I was raising a kid and now she's older. Now I'm like, I am interested in doing speaking engagements where before it was of no interest to me. But being, that being a factor, I've never done big stage or big company. And I have this big, crazy $500,000 idea. And it's really start reaching out to corporations where there are a lot of women who are working and a lot of them are not as effective as they can be because of their health issues. So me potentially saving them millions of dollars, right? Because now productivity goes up,
right?
Employees are happier and all. My big thing right now is figuring out how to best approach and pitch myself to the decision maker. So it's a twofold. How do you find out who the decision maker is? And second, yes, I can go back and forth and ask questions. I'd like to just kind of have an idea of how do I create this approach to the person and do add value to them and do ask them questions. But there comes a certain point where I say, hey, do you want to do this crazy idea that I have? And for me, it was, my $500,000 idea is not a one-time event, which would be nice, but It is the multiple speaking approach as opposed to, just one.
Right. So here's a Seth Godin soundbite that I at first didn't believe because I didn't want to believe it, but I think it's really, really true, and especially with this kind of question that you're asking. He says, the sooner you ask for money, the less you will get. So, and I'll tell you, this impulse that you're talking about, I just want to get in, I want to find the right person, I want to pitch them the program, and I want to have them buy. Every single one of my clients has that pitching impulse. Now, what's funny is, unlike you, they cannot sell their way out of a paper bag. They are hopeless when it comes to the sales conversation. For people like us that are strong in that sales conversation, we really want to get those at-bats.
And I'm good with waiting. This is what I really need to understand. I don't want to just buy something. I want to get in front of them. I want them to realize they have a need. I want to start feeling that need, and then I want to know when. Right.
So I think this is going to start with conversations and a lot of questions, because I think when we show up and we say, well, I know what your problem is. Your problem is that you got X, Y, and Z, and I have the solution to that. Even if it's obvious to you, you still have to ask these foundational questions so that they recognize the gap, they recognize the cost, they recognize the expense of what you're trying to solve, and they go, wow, I never thought about doing it that way. But the first step, what I would do is what we call a listening campaign. A listening campaign is going to the blogs, portals, and communities where these exact decision makers hang out, whether it's a LinkedIn group, Facebook group, community portal, blog, association blog, magazine, whatever, and then type in, so let's say it's for mid-career women burnout. I'm just going to guess, right? So you type in Google, mid-career women, senior executive women, burnout, fatigue, turnover, retention challenges, all these different kinds of things. You will find dozens and dozens and dozens of articles, references, Harvard Business Review, Forbes, Fortune, Fast Company Magazine, all these different kind of things. The people that are quoted, the executives that are quoted in those articles, that's where you start building your active 20. Because these are the people that, number one, they're already involved in that problem. Number two, you already have evidence that they speak to the media, right? So we're all running media companies, by the way, guys. I don't know if you know about this or not, but again, my friend Jay Baer says that, for every speaker, every expert, every coach is really running a media company. Well, we're on television right now. 20 years ago, we'd be like paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for this global broadcast channel that we're on right now. We're on a TV show right now. This is incredible. So we're running a media company, but you need to tap into that media and understand what are the prospect's problems expressed in prospect language. Do that listening campaign, that vetting and that validation. Reach out to those people and say, I have an idea. And that's where you do what Stuart's talking about. Either interview them, ask for 500 seconds of their bandwidth, tell them you have a crazy idea, you're not sure if it's going to work, but you'd love their help in shooting some holes in it. What you're not telling them is you're helping them shoot some holes in it so you can make it bulletproof, right? And what you're doing is you're showing them some kind of rough draft of a program, and then you're saying what resonates with you and what doesn't. What's missing? What would you add? What would you change? And what would you take away? So now what they're doing, Elena, is they're taking out their pen and they're doodling, virtually, of course, they're doodling on the same piece of paper as you are, and they're saying, well, that first bullet, yeah, we don't really have that problem. Man, that second bullet, that is killer. That's exactly what we're up against. And you didn't talk about the cost of recruiting and replacing these women. When there's a mid-career woman who's VP level and above, and she's making $350,000, and she leaves, that costs our company $700,000. One highly placed executive leaving. The hard cost and the soft cost, $700,000. Well, how many of those women do you think leave your company in an average year? You're talking to a Deloitte or an IBM or big bank or whatever. This is, I don't know, 30, 50, who knows? So you're not even sure how much money is walking out the door every single month, every single year? No, but it's bad. Now you say, I've got this $500,000 program. Is this worth talking about? They're like, yeah, if we can save one woman from walking out that door, the program more than paid for itself. So, I mean, there's a whole big thing, of course, around that, but I'm giving you the step-by-step kind of fill-in-the-blank way to do it if you want to do it.
Yeah, no, this is fantastic. This is exactly where I'm lacking because I'm so used to talking to women.
I know, right? It's B2B versus B2C.
Yeah. So B2B is where I really want to go, but I still want to touch the B2C because this is my target audience.
Also the B2C builds up your credibility. So now you are the expert when it comes to doing this for companies because you've helped, hundreds of women solve this problem.
Yeah, this is brilliant. I know I was like, I need some kind of proposal, I need some kind of something, but I know I need human connection because this is how we do it.
It's the magic of conversation. And the other thing, I tell our clients this all the time. They say, should I send a proposal? Even after they have a chat, should I send a proposal? I said, well, what's going to be in the proposal? Oh, all my different programs and the pricing and whatever. Have they ever seen that before? No. I said, well, listen, the piece of paper is not going to do your selling for you. The only time we ever should send a piece of paper is when it is already been discussed and agreed to, right, on the conceptual level, and they say, can you send me the proposal so we can sign off on it and get started? Right?
Yeah, so this is brilliant. Like I said, I cannot believe that you guys are not charging for this.
I know, this is gold right here. But never send a piece of paper where there should be a conversation. Yeah. The conversation sells the deal. The piece of paper never sells the deal.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for both you, Fahd and David.
Thanks for popping in. It's great to see you.
So
say hi to the family.
So let's talk about this for a second. And Shannon, just nod if you want to jump in, and if so, I'll let you jump in. Yeah. Okay. Fantastic. Give me a second. So the conversations are leading not to pitch them to work with you, but to pitch them, if you will, to have you come and speak to their organization, right?
Well, remember, there's no pitch at all. It's really about how can I help you? How can I help you solve this problem? How can I serve your group? How can I help you get to this end result? So I'll give you a quick example. A guy calls me up and he wants a $5,000 sales keynote. And I said, well, did you go to my website? And he says, yeah. I said, did you see that I'm a marketing speaker? I'm not a sales speaker. He goes, yeah, but I like your stuff and I like your style. It's okay. So you have a $5,000 budget. Let me refer you to a friend of mine whose name is Scott. And Scott is a great sales speaker. So I hang up the phone. I figure that's the last I'm going to hear from this. My friend Scott calls me up a week later. And he says, David, thank you for that referral. That turned into the biggest piece of business in my company's history. And I said, whoa. The guy was calling for a $5,000 speech. Are you telling me a $5,000 speech is the biggest deal in your company's history? He says, no. He called me for a $5,000 speech, but I started asking, what's going on? You have a sales meeting? Why are you having a sales meeting? Who's coming to the sales meeting? What's the purpose of the sales meeting? The guy says, I got 6 sales guys. 3 of them need to be fired. 3 of them are underperforming. No one's hitting goal. This is a total mess and a total train wreck. I want someone to come in and motivate them and get them performing again. And my friend Scott says, well, you know what? I'm good, but I'm not that good. That's not going to happen in 45 minutes. So how about we do a year-long sales coaching and sales recruiting program for you? We're going to either coach to improve the 3 that need to be fired, or we're going to fire them and replace them. And then we're going to do an entire sales training program for the next 12 months to improve the performance and support and mentor these folks. And that's going to cost $60,000. And by the way, I'll throw in that $5,000 speech for free. So he was able to convert a $5,000 speech that should have never been a speech to a $60,000, $5,000 a month contract for the next 12 months to actually solve the guy's problem. So that's what I mean, that we're here to diagnose, right? It's 4 phases, my friends. It is diagnose, prescription, treatment, outcome. Diagnosis, prescription, treatment, outcome. If you do the prescription, or even worse, you're a doctor and the patient walks in and sees the blue pills and the yellow pills and the red pills and says, hey doc, yeah, I'm not sure what's wrong, but give me a box of the red pills. That's malpractice. That's illegal. You can't do that. You say, hang on, where does it hurt? What's going on? How far can you raise your arm? Can you raise it up to here? Can you raise it up to here? Oh, that really hurts. Okay, well, how about your leg? Oh, my legs are killing me too. And you don't know what's going on. You can't sell them the first box of pills that they point to. That's why I said diagnosis, deep dive diagnosis, so that you can really give them what they need to solve the problem or get the outcome. Don't worry about sell the speech, sell the consulting, sell the training. Have that in your back pocket so that you have the appropriate treatment that fixes their actual problem.
I love it. And this is why conversations, not sales, right? Focus on having more conversations, not more sales, and then the sales will come from the conversation.
Exactly right.
Love it. So let's talk to Shannon. Shannon, you're our last one. How are you? Let's see if we can see you. Just jump in. Let's see. Can we hear your microphone? You're not muted. No, your microphone's not working.
Yeah. No. I think you're fine. You just weren't talking.
You heard her?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear her. So go ahead. Jump in.
All right, David. So here's a question. What happens if you've, so I work with holistic health consulting, and the, a lot of my background is military jet operations, and my husband's a pilot, so I figured I'd start with pilots. And I went look for the airline industry. I thought, with my background in the Air Force, my husband's background, that may be a group that I can really connect with, because my husband was the military commander for X many years, and I get that mentality. So I called an airline association, and they had a fatigue management seminar, and I can get people to focus. I thought one thing that I could do well to start with is to refocus and revitalize. So to have people use tricks of how do I work my body, different ways to get myself to focus my attention and hone in. So I thought that was something I could do, and got all the way through the organization to the executive assistant who is who for the boss who is organizing a fatigue management seminar.
Okay.
And I said, ooh, I bet I could zone in here. And she said, great, email this to my boss. And I went, ooh, I think I'm losing it here. But the executive assistant was really excited about working with me and bringing me, because their agenda in January hadn't been firmed up yet.
Okay.
So I got all the way through the organization, all the way understanding what's going on. And she says, email this to my boss. And I did and never heard anything. And I did a follow-up email and never heard anything. Do you then go back to the executive assistant? Help me out.
Well, so it sounds like, so it's a couple things. Is your question about that specific sales situation, or is it about, do you have a viable business doing these seminars for pilots?
Oh, I'll take information on both.
Is your question about 1, 2, and 3? Yes, it is. Yes, absolutely. All right. So sales 101 is, and maybe it's not 101, maybe it's not obvious, but anytime someone says that, let's say the assistant's name is Brenda and the boss's name is Susan. So you say, Brenda, I would love to do that. Would there be some way that you can look on Susan's schedule, and after I send it, let's all three of us reconnect on a follow-up conversation just to answer any final questions or to make sure this is really a fit for your program. So never leave a conversation without the next sales conversation on the calendar. If it's an assistant kind of thing and a boss or a gatekeeper and the committee or whatever it is, always, here's the magic phrase. Can we move forward on a calendar basis? And people go, what does that mean? I said, well, you're really busy. I'm really busy. If we have the calendar in front of us, the calendar can drive our future conversations. So before we hang up today, when do you think Susan will have a chance to review the email that I'm about to send? Well, she has a business trip. She usually prints out some emails, takes it on the plane. Fantastic. When does she get back? She gets back on Wednesday night. Terrific. Would it make sense for us to talk Thursday morning, or is she still playing catch up on Thursday morning and it's better on Thursday afternoon? Probably better Thursday afternoon. Fantastic. I'm in the Eastern time zone. Do you like 2 o'clock, 3:30, or 5:15? And now what the assistant is looking on the boss's calendar, putting a push pin on the calendar so we can all three reconnect. What some assistants will do is, oh no, I don't need to be involved. Let me just get you and Susan connected. Fine, great, I don't care. 2-way call, 3-way call, whatever it is. But our responsibility, our fiduciary, our financial responsibility is to never leave any sales conversation without the next touch point on their calendar. In fact, that's how we define your sales pipeline. Sales pipeline is not who are you calling, who are you emailing, who's on your LinkedIn outreach list. It's how many people have your name on their calendar with a day and a time where they're going to call you. So as a trusted advisor, I don't make, aside from initial outreach calls, after that, I'm the doctor, they call me. I say, that's fantastic. We're confirmed for 3:30 on next Thursday. At that time, you will call me on XXX. And they go, ooh, we're calling him. So I have a whole bunch of people now with David Newman, call David Newman call, David Newman consult. It's on their calendar and they're calling me. So that's how we work that. What I would do in the airline business, though, is, isn't this important for everybody? Why limit it to pilots? I mean, isn't this ground crew, isn't this cabin crew, isn't this appropriate for everybody?
So to work the whole airline industry.
Yeah, I'd go nuts on the airline business. Because with your background, you know, your background, and we call this having the right names to drop and the right stories to tell, you know, military aviation, that's like, oh my God, that's fantastic. Because a lot of these people come from that world too, especially the pilots and the co-pilots and so on. So that's kind of like a status play. That if you have that, right, it's kind of like the brotherhood and the sisterhood, where it's like, hey, I'm going to flash my ID card. I'm in the family. You're in the family. You get what I'm talking about. And it's an aspirational thing that even the ground crew and the cabin crew think that's pretty cool. You know, it's about planes and guns and helicopters and missiles and crap like that. They love that stuff. So I think that's the street cred. And then you say, listen, this is a problem for everybody. If it's in the air, then people will die. Right? And that's not good. But if it's on the ground, then it's about productivity. Then it's about, you know, wasting hours. Then it's about losing luggage. Then it's about, you know, dangerous work conditions. It's about accident prevention. It's about OSHA. It's about regulatory compliance. All kinds of. I mean, they get in trouble for like looking the wrong way at whatever, at a fueling truck. It's like, no, you can't look that way at the fueling truck. What's wrong with you? So it's a safety play on the ground, and it's really a safety play, a life and death safety play in the air. You know, we're talking about, major problems in the air, but we're still talking about safety risk and PR risk. And, sometimes they want to even be seen as doing something. It's important to do it, but for a lot of companies, it's important to be seen doing something about a perceived problem. And so you're going to get some play on that angle as well.
So you think the airline industry would be a good direction?
Oh yeah, I like that a lot. Finite, workable, right? And I mean, it's vast. As you know, you probably looked, right? There's commercial aviation. There is, civilian aviation, all the private airfields, all the private planes, all of that whole world. I mean, it's just ginormous. The more you zoom in on any of these niches, my friends, Shannon in particular, but this applies to everybody with anything that you're looking at, the more you zoom into the center of the bullseye of that industry that you want to serve, you realize, oh my gosh, there's multiple lifetimes of work in here. Everyone thinks like, oh, I'm leaving money on the table because I'm not going to banks and I'm not going to construction and I'm not going to the IT industry. Multiple lifetimes of work in any well-defined niche. You'll be so busy your head will spin.
Really? Okay.
There you go.
Things to think about. And so
you are healed. You are healed. We've laid the marketing hands onto the victim.
Okay. That's the big one. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So what's really cool about this is that and Shannon, to your point, a lot of people think like, if I'm not talking celebrity, if I'm not talking to, some niche that sounds like fancy, then I'm not going to make money. One of my coaches makes, I think, about $1.5 million every 3 months, helping chiropractors. So the most boring niche, right? They don't know marketing. They need help with marketing, and they would pay to someone to do it for them. So he has a really fantastic niche where he's actually adding value, but it's very close, it's very tapped, and it's very specific, like David is saying. So many questions. tons of value. I love all this is brilliant and people are getting so much out of this, which I really love. David, you've done an amazing job. Before we kind of wrap up, I know a lot of people want more. So if you want more, right next to this video, I think that way, you will see a little blue banner that says discover how to revive your business with speaking engagements, right? Your speaking business. So what you'll get there is actually David's plan. He's breaking down everything that we started talking about here, which is the challenges of being a speaker. You know, do you need certificates or not? All the myths, he's breaking down all the myths there, and he's giving you the steps that will get you on the path to being a paid expert who's also speaking. So I really highly recommend you guys tap to the right there and grab that. It's completely free. It's an hour-long video interactive, and it's very energetic. You would love every minute of it. I was in it. So other than that, David, I know you're doing lives, and you're mostly on Facebook, or there are other places where people can find you?
Mostly on Facebook. I mean, you know, they can find me lots of places. We have a podcast, I have a website, DoitMarketing.com. But as far as the video aspect of it, that's mostly on Facebook Live.
Okay, I just lost you again. There we go. Here you are. So mostly Facebook Live. So
Mostly Facebook Live.
So find you on Facebook. Your webinar is on DoitMarketing.
The easiest way to get to it is DoitMarketing.com/webinar.
And guys, this is not anything that you would buy at the end. This is something that you actually get a ton of value from. And if then you want more, there's an invitation to speak with David privately, just like you did here. Very low pressure, because I think you are also very focused on who you're working with, right? You're not just taking any
No,
beginner.
absolutely. And, you know, I think for all of us, client selection is critically important, because you want to make sure that you're working with people that A, you can do your best work with, and that number two, will cross the finish line and get amazing results. Because none of us, I mean, we're all living in glass houses these days online. None of us can afford to have unsuccessful clients.
Yes. And we've talked before, we started this conversation with all the stuff to be careful of and watch. So now that you've experienced David live, you know exactly that you cannot stamp the guy. He knows what he's talking about, right? So thank you so much for joining us today. If you have any question, comments, or anything like that, you know where to find us right there. amthatgeek.com/live. The next show is going to be about face recognition. You know, a lot of us have our pictures out there and we are being recognized by the algorithms, which means that these algorithms own our images. There's an Israeli company that makes it so that if you put your picture online, nobody knows that's you. If you're interested in that topic, that will be our next show right here on amthatgeek.com/live. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, David. Any last words? Anything else you want to say?
No, just go and kick some butt and make some money and watch that web training. I think it'll be of good service to you.
I agree. So thank you guys, everybody. We'll see you on our next show.